Good morning to all the members of the jury. I am Anchal Thapa, an assistant professor in Chitkara School of Planning and Architecture, Punjab, and I'm pleased to present my research topic, a comparative analysis of climate responsiveness of vernacular and contemporary housing typologies in Kullu, Himachal Pradesh. The core of this research is driven by a stark reality, the increasing climate vulnerability of the Himalayan region. Himachal Pradesh is experiencing significant climatic shifts. The temperature has increased by 1.6 degrees Celsius, which is notably higher than the 1 degree rise observed in Himalayan plains. We have seen a dramatic change in rainfall patterns, a decrease in rainy days, but a sharp increase in rain intensity, leading to severe disasters like flash floods. The Kulu region, in particular, is highly susceptible to these risks, including landslides and extreme temperature variations. In this fragile ecosystem, the built environment must provide resilience as modern housing topologies, driven by globalization, rapidly replace traditional designs. We face an urgent necessity to assess how these newer topologies compare to the time tested vernacular designs in terms of climate responsiveness and resilience. Despite a substantial body of literature on climate responsive design, a significant knowledge gap exists. There is a lack of understanding of how these principles apply specifically to the unique vernacular and contemporary housing in Kullu. Crucially, a regionally tailored holistic framework of design approaches appropriate to the current climatic environment of Himachal Pradesh is conspicuously absent. My research therefore focuses on three primary objectives: to explore and assess climatic responsive design parameters for vernacular and contemporary housing typologies of Kullu, Himachal Pradesh; to develop a regionally tailored holistic framework of design approaches appropriate to the current climatic environment of Himachal Pradesh; to provide general guidelines and recommendations for housing design towards comfortable and environmentally responsible architecture. To contextualize this, let's briefly look at the local vernacular known as Katkuni architecture, which is prevalent in mid-hill region up to 9,000 feet. This style is inherently ecological and climate responsive. It utilizes the Katkuni wall technique, an alternating interlocking system of stone squared section wooden beams. This method not only offers superior thermal mass for heat storage but also provide essential earthquake resistance. The design strategies are highly adaptive, like first, orientation and massing. Settlements are built along contours, preferably on south-facing slope to maximize solar heat gain. Often have a minimum surface to volume ratio to reduce heat loss. Layering. The typical dwelling places cattle and storage on the lower floors, utilizing the ground floor's heat and mass of insulation, and the main living spaces on the upper floors. Passive elements. Projecting wooden balconies are strategically placed on the sunny side for solar gain and sitting, while on the shaded side they are used for firewood storage and shuttered to block cold drafts. Low-pitched roofs with larger overhangs ensure effective rainwater drainage and wall protection. My methodology is comparative and qualitative, focusing solely on passive design technique strategies that can be controlled by architects and building users. I have conducted on-site surveys, physical measurements, and analysis of climatic data and architectural parameters, followed by a comparative analysis of the vernacular and modern samples. The research aims to identify the inherent strength of traditional wisdom and the weakness of unadapted modern construction. The outcome will be a robust, regionally appropriate design framework that supports building resilience and sustainability in the vulnerable hill settlement. The findings of this study are paramount for ensuring that future development in Kulu is both affordable and climatically responsible, safeguarding its community and environment for generations to come. Thank you.
Every meaningful beginning finds its roots in gratitude. I extend my sincere appreciation to the Viksit Bharat at 2047 mission, Dr. Arjun Dave and Team Vedant, and to the Vedant Knowledge System for organizing this international multidisciplinary and multilingual conference. Namaste. I am Dr. Priyanka Mishra, an architect, urban planner, and a healer as well. Currently serving as an assistant professor at Kids School of Architecture and Planning, and it has been an honor to chair this session under the theme Viksit Bharat at 2047, which envisions an inclusive, resilient, and knowledge driven India. I had the opportunity to review 7 insightful papers spanning architectural dynamics, education and NEP, traditional knowledge systems, climate vulnerabilities, behavioral studies, and sustainable environments. And I wish all the participants continued success in their academic journeys. Let us now begin with a research titled A Comparative Analysis of Climate Responsiveness of Vernacular and Contemporary Housing Typologies in Kulu, Himachal Pradesh by architect Anchal Thapa. The study addresses a very relevant theme and demonstrates a clear understanding of climate responsive design in a sensitive Himalayan context. The comparative approach between vernacular and contemporary housing is appropriate, and the effort to relate spatial elements to climatic response is appreciable as well. The study successfully highlights the importance of traditional wisdom and sets a good foundation for discussing design sensitivity in Kulu. However, to further strengthen the work, a few aspects can be further elaborated. For example, the construction techniques, materials used in both vernacular and contemporary typologies can be explained in slightly more detail, especially by linking them to traditional practices and climatic logic. While some spatial parameters are described, explaining why these elements evolved, such as material choice, wall systems, structural responses, would help in better understanding the underlying design concepts. Additionally, since the issue of increasing flooding in Kulu has been mentioned in earlier slides, the study can more clearly highlight design responses for vulnerable areas such as plains levels, drainage strategies, settlement planning, and enhanced resilience. Finally, referring to a few more recent studies on climate change, flooding, and Himalayan housing would strengthen the academic grounding of the analysis. Overall, this is a well conceived and meaningful study with strong relevance to climate responsive architecture, with a little more depth in construction details, risk responsive design aspects, and updated reference. I think the work can become more comprehensive and impactful. Thank you.
Very good morning, everyone. The research paper, The Role of NAP 2020 on Transformation of Higher Education, authored by myself, architect Neha Kapse. Talking about introduction and aim of this research paper, in the context of Indian higher education, this research seeks to critically analyze the NEP, that is National Education Policy 2020, revolutionary ambition, and the study aims to clarify how the NEP is positioned to transform educational environment, strengthen institutional capacities, and reimagine the future course of higher education in the nation through examination of her policy objectives, implementation tactics, and potential repercussions. So this research based on 3 main objectives. First, to evaluate the curriculum and structural changes that higher education institutions have implemented in accordance with the NEP 2020 with the help of literature review. Second, to examine the key features of NEP 2020 and how this key component influence and reshape the current higher education system. Third, to assess the institutional and governance challenges in implementing NEP 2020 reform across Indian universities and colleges. So, to fulfill the objective 1, I did this literature study. So, this is the summary and findings from each research paper. To fulfill the objective 2, I have examined the key features of NEP 2020 for higher education. So, the goal of NEP 2020 for higher education is to change India's education system by introducing a number of important features such as multidisciplinary education, adaptable coursework and credit transfer, research and innovation, virtual learning, globalization, student-centric approach, several points of entry and departure, investment in research, teacher training program, integration of technology, and last is skill development in vocational education. Together, this key feature seeks to modernize India's higher education, making it more adaptable to worldwide trends and better able to satisfy the changing demand of a society and student. With the focus on interdisciplinary studies, the addition of a new discipline and more flexibility in course to choice to give the student a variety of options, the National Education Policy 2020 seeks to transform India's higher education system. It aims to improve higher education gross enrollment ratio, provide a variety of entry and exit point, and let students choose the course that best suits as per their interest and skill. Then, to fulfill the objective 3, that is NEP 2020 merits and their challenges for higher education. There are total 5 merits. First, adaptability. Second, integration of technology. Third, teachers development program. Fourth, multiple entry and exit point. And last is investment in research. These measures collectively aim to modernize India's higher education system, making it more adaptable to the evolving needs of students and society, while enhancing educational outcome and employability. There are few challenges also. First, overwhelming the higher education system. Second, financing initiatives. Third, bridging the digital divide. Fourth, faculty development. And last is equity concerns. These challenges underscore the complexity and scale of the reform envisaged by NEP 2020, requiring strategic planning, robust implementation strategies, and continuous stakeholder engagement to navigate effectively towards achieving the policy objectives. Moving towards conclusion of this research, the National Education Policy 2020 represents a significant milestone in India's journey towards revitalizing its higher education system by focusing on modernization, innovation, and increased accessibility. The NEP aims to address long-standing structural challenges and adapt the evolving global education trend. Through this study, I have identified the key policy objectives, explored implementation challenges, and discussed the potential outcome, illustrating how the NEP endeavored to reshape educational practice and empower stakeholders across diverse backgrounds. So, while recognizing the opportunities presented by NEP, including interdisciplinary education, enhanced research focus, and technological integration, it is crucial to acknowledge the accompanying challenges such as funding requirement and needs for robust implementation strategies. Ultimately, by navigating these complexities effectively, the NEP holds the promise of fostering a dynamic educational landscape in India that fosters knowledge creation, innovation, and equitable access, thereby contributing to the nation's socio-economic development in the 21st century. So, these are my references. Thank you. So, education imparted by the heart can bring regulation in the society. Thank you.
The next study by architect Neha Gajanan Kapse presents a critical and well structured analysis of the National Education Policy NEP 2020, and with a clear focus on how the policy aims to strengthen institutional capacities within the Indian education system. The research effectively evaluates curriculum reforms introduced under NEP 2020 and clearly outlines its key features, demonstrating a sound understanding of policy intent and framework. As a suggestion, the analysis could be further strengthened by incorporating the current status of NEP 2020 implementation, supported by case based examples of comparative insights across different regions or specific institutions to illustrate variations in practices. And the methodology may be refined further by clearly outlining the criteria and the process used for screening and selecting the papers that are reviewed. Additionally, the recommendations derived from identified opportunities and challenges can be more streamlined and elaborated to enhance the clarity and practical relevance of the study. Overall, the research is relevant, timely, and thoughtful, and it contributes meaningfully to understanding both the transformative potential and the implementation challenges of NEP 2020 in India. Thank you.
Shriya Agrawal. So today I'm talking about tangible and intangible aspects of dynamics in architecture. Let's move forward. The core question is physical uh, discuss design, inner experience, and interaction. Tangible means you can touch anything, and intangible means you cannot touch anything. So in basically in heartfulness there are four types of practices. First, relaxation, then guided relaxation, that is your morning meditation, yogic transmission, that is pranahuti, and impression removing clearing. So, whenever you meditate in the morning, then in the evening you do the cleaning part. Similarly, we have integration in the built environment as part of the architecture also. So you can see the heartfulness being Kana Shantivanam being the perfect example of this living laboratory. So it was barren when it was in 2016, before it was barren. But after 4 years, when people started meditating into that place, it has become, you can see the images here that it has becoming a green. So basically, it has also been awarded as IGBC Best Rating awarded. So because of the transmission, you can see that transmission from intangible to the tangible effect. So it has four layer of framework: form layer, field layer, practice layer, and the value layer. So the key design is spatial geometry, light and shadow, acoustic quality. Many of the trees have been transported from from many places, and it has been posted to the Hyderabad Kamashanti Vanam. We have played with the spatial geometry that we can enhance more and more sustainable kind of architecture into the built environment, and we can also play the light and shadow when people walk into that space. Similarly, when the people meditate into a meditation hall, there is an acoustic treatment in that space. So we have in one of the paper, it was a live video recording how people are transmitting that these things. So you can see in the red energy in a room. 5 minutes into meditation, a green channel opens. It stays open for a duration of the meditation. Then you can see them some green and pink colors representing the frequencies of the heart center. Then you can see more layers of pink and gold energy begins to appear in just 15 minutes. And then this golden energy. So it has been seen by a recording by a recorder. Then one of the volunteers who was sitting in a room, we have recorded that session. Before it was, you can see the green and blue lines, and after that, when the meditation has started placing away, then yellow lines begin to appear. So basically, in this room, a light has been opened. We have used the natural colors like white, and we have used sustainable material. We have used the acoustic treatment in that room as well, so that as the student or a volunteers having in that space can experience that thing. We have also placed some natural materials, natural plants, so that the person can experience a um, green environment. I mean, he or she can have a green nature. He can he or she can feel that feeling. So basically, material like stone, concrete, wood, earth has played an important role. The environment comfort is important when you are sitting into a space and having the feeling of natural ventilation. Then all these have the nature integration, which you can see in this bar graph as well. That how the energy from starting has been ending. It was in the top, and the last person is comforting into one zone, becoming a soft space. Then the journey and symbolization. So whenever you walk into the space, Kana Shanti Vana type of space, circulation and threshold takes place from unconscious region to the superconscious region. So those routes, those gateways, those transmission being in a floor area, column area like a tree, and it was a shift towards a space. And landscape metaphors like Yatra Garden has been there in the Kana Shanti Vana Hyderabad, which plays an important role. Then the community and sustainability plays an important role. You can see the living habitat, social layers, economic, spiritual system, and living habitat. Then the key finding and future discussion for this final research is we have a core discovery that physical aspects in heartfulness setting clearly shows the deeper connection with the people. I mean, the tangible aspects play an important role for the mental well-being of the intangible aspects of person's inability. Design implication, if you use a sustainable type of designs in an approaches, so people looking towards a mindfulness approach when they enter to a green approach, I mean the tangible part, the green practices, like the moment that they are going into that space, or a space wherever you are living, if you have a green environment, built environment, nature oriented thing, then you can specifically have a feeling of from tangible to the intangible journey, that is from unconscious region to the superconscious region, and the person feels safe in that space. So it's a research path. Future studies can play a more important tracking surrounding while collecting personal feedbacks, real world observation in meditation settings. So we can use, see, this is the last my before room. It was, you can see physical, emotional, spiritual, and there are four levels: physical, emotional, spiritual, and uh, mental level. So physical levels, five or six is there. Then visuality, they have six. Then emotional, all are blank. Mental, it was something was there. And spiritually, then again blank, and spiritual three. So in spirituality, we have taken three readings. So basically, when after meditation, you can see everything is green, everything is full. So that means meditation plays a very important role in our life. Like our human body is a physical form that you can touch. Similarly, when you live in a space that is tangible, and when you go deep inside that with the heartfulness practices, your mental level, spiritual level, everything goes with a good dynamo. Like physical, you go to the vitality part, which is called pratyahara. Then you become emotional. Then you go to the mind region, their subconscious region, work on it, and you start experiencing many good levels. Then beyond mental region, then starts with when you cross emotional and mental region, then you go deep, more deep inside that stage, and then you started experience at a spiritual level. That is, you are getting connected with the Brahman region, Brahma region, that is of God region. So in that region, we have calculated one, two, three. So many who are already the volunteers who have supported to this research, they are already spiritual one practice before. You can see before how it was light, 4 5 points were green, and but after the reading, all are green. So basically, Pranahuti plays a very important role. It supports, built environment supports the mental practices. So the energy quality measurement of the room before and after meditation, you can see. So these are the references which I have taken. There are so many references. Sorry, I have made it little so that my slide could not become. So the conclusion of the day that if you want want to be have a good life in one space if we are living lonely in a room only. So if you are following the sustainable practices, sustainable environment, so heartfulness, uh, type of practices like heartfulness, a person can feel best physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Although heartfulness can only satisfy for your mental, emotional, and spiritual level, but for physical level, your environment must be good. So that's where architecture comes, that it makes the tangible part, physical part, becoming better. Thank you.
The next paper titled Tangible Intangible Dynamics in Architecture, a Heartfulness Perspective by architect Shriya Agrawal and Dr. Rajeshwari Hegde presents a thoughtful and conceptually rich exploration of the tangible and intangible dimensions of architecture through a heartfulness lens. The study is well executed, synthesizing insights from architecture, philosophy, consciousness studies to demonstrate how inner awareness, intention, experiential qualities shape spatial meaning. The discussion on energy measurement of spaces at various intervals during and after meditation sessions, along with consideration of sustainability and eco spiritual systems, is particularly interesting and opens strong possibilities for deeper future investigation. The interdisciplinary framing addresses an important yet often underexplored dimension of architectural discourse. However, there are few suggestions that can be incorporated to give more depth to the study. For instance, the study could be further strengthened by sharpening the conceptual framework that explains the interaction between tangible and intangible parameters that have been used by the researchers, then extending the discussion to further include various forms of meditation and yogic practices, as well as examining the effects of different types of vegetation on the energy systems. This could add further depth, and incorporating more recent and diverse literature would enhance academic robustness. Additionally, the inclusion of a comprehensive flowchart or summary table outlining the research structure, key concepts, interlinkages would improve clarity and help convey the overall narrative more effectively. Overall, this is a very well conceived and a very reflective study. The authors are to be congratulated for the quality and depth of their work. Thank you.
Greetings to all. This is architect Trupti Biswas. I've done my master's in urban design and I'm currently a research scholar at Ajinkya D.Y. Patil University, Pune. My today's title for the research paper presentation is Indian Knowledge Systems and Civilizational Wisdom from Gurukul to Global Perspectives in Architecture. The abstract looks at where the paper examines the Indian knowledge systems as a civilizational framework, focusing on the evolution of education from Gurukul tradition to global knowledge paradigms. It explores how architecture in India embodies philosophical, spiritual, and ecological wisdom, reflecting holistic approaches to learning and living. By analyzing Gurukul spaces and modern educational institutions, the study highlights the continuity and transformation of knowledge systems. The research situates Indian architecture within the broader discourse of cultural sustainability, offering insights into how civilizational wisdom can inform contemporary global challenges. We are looking at three aspects: Indian knowledge system, Gurukul model, and the civilizational expression, where Indian knowledge system represents one of the world's oldest and most comprehensive frameworks of civilizational wisdom, encompassing philosophy, science, linguistic, art, architecture, and pedagogy. Whereas Gurukul system was the earliest institutional manifestation of Indian knowledge system, serving as both a pedagogical and architectural model. The architecture in India has historically been a medium of civilizational expression, embedding philosophical and cosmological principles into physical structures. Research questions look at how did Gurukul architecture support holistic learning? How does Indian architecture reflect civilizational wisdom? How can traditional principles inform modern design? What can global systems learn from IKS? Few research objectives which the research paper looked at. The overall overview of the literature review is it looked at four parameters: Gurukul pedagogy, Vastushastra, sustainability, and global relevance. The highlights were civilizational continuity and ecological wisdom in Indian architecture. The overall summary of literature, it suggests that a consistent emphasis on the holistic nature of Indian knowledge system, integrating pedagogy, architecture, and ecology. Gurukul traditions highlight the role of architecture in shaping educational experiences, while civilizational wisdom codified in Vastu Shastra underscores the metaphysical dimensions of design. Contemporary scholarship increasingly recognizes the relevance of IKS to sustainability and global discourses, suggesting that Indian civilizational wisdom offers timeless insights for modern challenges. Methodology looks at qualitative analysis of texts, comparative studies, and case studies. Few images of the case studies which were considered. Overall comparative analysis between Gurukul architecture, modern educational institutions, and global sustainable campuses under the dimensions of pedagogy, spatial design, sustainability, symbolism, and global relevance. And the findings from there, where we are looking at three heads of pedagogical architecture, civilizational wisdom, and sustainability, where a use of local materials and natural ventilation, traditional designs, minimized ecological footprint, modern green campuses echoes the IKS principles, and that's the way ahead in the today's world in terms of applicability of the research and the relevance of the research paper today. The discussion looks at Gurukul to global continuity and transformation. It offers IKS as a IKS offers frameworks for sustainable holistic design and the need to balance tradition and innovation. In conclusion, IKS provides timeless insights into architecture and education. Civilizational wisdom remains relevant globally. Integration into modern design enhances sustainability. Expanded research on IKS informed campus designs is the way ahead, and develop interdisciplinary curricula integrating IKS, promoting global dialogue on civilizational knowledge systems is the way ahead that we can see. Global relevance, the integration of IKS into modern curricula as emphasized by the NEP 2020, the highlights its applicability to global challenges in education and architecture today. Indian civilizational wisdom offers frameworks for designing spaces that nurture intellectual, cultural, and spiritual growth in diverse contexts. The references. On a final note, Indian civilizational system wisdom is not confined to the past, but offers living insights for the present as well as the future. Thank you.
Architect Trupti Biswas, in her paper on Indian knowledge systems and civilizational wisdom from Gurukul to global perspectives in architecture, presents a thoughtful and culturally grounded exploration of Indian knowledge systems and their relevance to architectural thought, tracing a meaningful journey from the Gurukul tradition to contemporary global perspectives. The study effectively highlights civilizational wisdom embedded in traditional education systems, special practices, value based learning, and successfully positions them within present day architectural discourse. The narrative reflects a strong conceptual understanding and offers valuable insights into how indigenous knowledge systems can inform sustainable, ethical, and context responsive architecture. However, as a suggestion, the paper could be further strengthened by clearly structuring the transition from historical frameworks to contemporary architectural applications, making the global linkage more explicit, and also incorporating selected case references or thematic examples drawn from architectural practice. This would enhance clarity and applicability, and a concise synthesis towards the conclusion, emphasizing implications for architectural education and practice, would further improve the overall impact of the research. Overall, this is a relevant, reflective, well articulated study, and the author is to be congratulated for addressing an important and timely theme with depth and sensitivity. Thank you.
For as long as we've been making things, we've relied on human hands and human eyes. But what if we could make things perfectly, every single time? Well, that is the huge promise of AI in manufacturing. But, as you're about to see, getting from human error to machine precision, it's not quite as simple as just flipping a switch. You know, the stakes on a factory floor are just incredibly high. A tiny, almost invisible imperfection can have these massive ripple effects. We're talking about grinding a whole production line to a halt, wasting tons of raw materials, and worst of all, damaging a company's hard-earned reputation.
Right, that is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? How do you get flawless quality, but at the incredible speeds modern production demands? The answer, as we're about to find out, means we have to think about quality control in a totally new way.
Now, AI is obviously the big, powerful tool that everyone's talking about. But bringing it onto a factory floor, that's a huge strategic puzzle. It's not just about buying a cool new machine, it's about making it work with old systems, complicated workflows, and, this is the big one, with people.
So, what is the blueprint for actually getting this right? Well, researchers have a pretty neat model that breaks it all down into 3 key parts.
It's called the Technology Organization Environment Framework, or just TOE for short. And you can think of it like a 3-legged stool. For any company to successfully adopt AI, all 3 of these legs have to be solid. If you neglect even one, the whole thing just tips right over. Let's break them down.
First up, T is for technology. This is the one everybody thinks of first. You know, does the AI system actually do what it's supposed to do? What's the price tag? And, super important, can you even plug it into the machines and software you already have? Get the tech part wrong and you're dead in the water. Next, we've got O for organization. This is the human side of the equation, and honestly, it's just as critical. Do the bosses actually support the project? Do your employees have the right skills to use these new tools? And is your company culture actually ready for a massive shift like this? Because the best tech in the world will fail if the organization isn't ready for it.
And finally, E is for environment, because no company exists in a bubble, right? What are your competitors up to? Are there government rules or maybe even incentives that could affect your decision? And how good is the tech support from the people who sold you the AI? All these outside forces really shape the whole game.
Okay, so that's the theory, the TOE framework. But let's see how this actually works in the real world. We're going to zoom in to the textile industry, where the fight for perfection is literally fought one thread at a time. All right, look closely at this. It's a tiny, tiny flaw in a piece of fabric. Now, here's the crazy part. A highly trained human inspector, someone whose entire job is to spot these things, will only catch them about 70% of the time. That means a full 30% of flaws can just slip right on by.
And when you think about it, it makes total sense why. The work is just mind-numbingly boring. Imagine staring at fabric zipping past you for 8 hours straight. Of course your eyes get tired. And what one person calls a major problem, another might not even notice. It's slow, it's inconsistent, it's just not reliable enough.
And the cost of those misses? It's absolutely staggering. A piece of fabric that has defects can lose between 45 to 65% of its market value. That is a massive financial hit, all because of these little flaws that are so hard for us to catch consistently.
So, if the problem is the limits of the human eye, what's the solution? Well, you teach a computer how to see. And this is where machine vision comes in.
And wow, the results are just incredible. So on the left, you see a dropped thread defect. Super easy for a person to miss. But look at the right. That's the AI in action. It instantly spots the flaw, draws a box around it, and tells you exactly what it is. It sees what we miss, and it does it in the blink of an eye.
So how does this magic work? Well, you've got these high-res cameras scanning the fabric at unbelievable speeds. Then, powerful algorithms comb through those images, looking for anything that's out of place. A tear, a hole, a streak, and here's the key. Because it's AI, it learns. The more fabric it sees, the smarter it gets. And of course, it works 24/7, and it never ever gets tired.
And it's not just a one-trick pony. This system is incredibly versatile. It can be trained to spot dozens of different types of flaws. We're talking subtle color marks, knots, thick spots in the yarn, you name it. It's like having a superhero for quality control.
The tech is definitely cool, but what about the payoff? Does it actually make a difference to the business? Let's look at the numbers because they really do speak for themselves.
First off, accuracy. Companies that put these AI systems in place see, on average, a 25% improvement in spotting defects compared to the old manual way. That's not just a small bump, it's a huge leap in quality.
And that improved accuracy, well, it translates directly into saving money. Catching flaws early and reliably means companies can slash their defect-related production costs by up to 30%. That's less waste, fewer do-overs, and a much healthier bottom line. That's an ROI you just can't argue with. This chart really just lays it all out. Look at the inspection speed. The AI is 4 times faster than a person. 4 times! And check out reproducibility. That's just consistency. Humans are basically a coin flip at 50%. The machine, over 90% consistent. So it's not just that it's better, it's faster and way, way more reliable.
Okay, so let's zoom back out. This is an amazing story from one industry, but how did it actually happen, and what does it mean for everyone else? Let's go back to our three-legged stool, the TOE framework. You can see it all came together perfectly here. The success wasn't just about the awesome machine vision technology. It also happened because they had leadership support and an organization that was ready for change. And it was all pushed forward by the cutthroat competitive environment of the global market. T, O, and E, all three legs were there, strong and balanced. And that right there is the biggest lesson. This story isn't really just about fabric. It doesn't matter if you're making computer chips or airplane turbines. The path to getting AI right follows the exact same blueprint: technology, organization, and environment. That's the recipe for the factory of the future.
We've managed to teach machines to see tiny flaws with a precision that's, well, superhuman. It really makes you wonder, as this technology gets more and more powerful, what else are we going to teach machines to see? What problems are out there right now just waiting for a new pair of eyes?
I congratulate Dr. Shipra Sharma for an interesting and impactful study on AI and machine learning for defect detection in apparel manufacturing. The study clearly demonstrates how AI-based systems can accurately inspect fabric defects continuously, operating 24 hours without fatigue, and delivering results that are faster, more consistent, more reliable than manual inspection. The discussion aligns well with the technology organization environment, that is TOE framework, positioning AI-enabled inspection as a key component of the factory of the future, where technological capability, organizational readiness, and environmental efficiency converge. By emphasizing speed, accuracy, scalability, and reduced human error, the study effectively reinforces the role of AI in enabling smart, sustainable, and competitive manufacturing ecosystems. However, as a suggestion, briefly mapping the findings explicitly onto the two dimensions could further strengthen the conceptual clarity and policy relevance for the research. Thank you.
A very good morning, everyone. I, Dr. Megha Gohil, Head and Assistant Professor of the Department of Fashion Designing at Vanita Vishram Women's University in Surat. I am excited to share with you a research study that challenges one of the most fundamental assumptions in color psychology. So, the topic for today's research is emotional association with color. A comparative study across academic discipline at Vanita Vishram Women's University. For decades, we have been told that color carry universal meaning. Example, red means excitement, blue means calmness, yellow means joy. But what if I tell you that might not be the complete picture? What if your academic training, your discipline, the field you study actually shapes you how you emotionally interpret color? This study has exactly discovered the same thing. Our main question was simple. Do people from different academic departments feel differently about the same color? For example, does red feel the same to a nutrition student or a faculty and a microbiology student or faculty? The answer is no. Studied 287 students and faculty from 7 departments of our university. Participants rated color based on how pleasant, exciting, or powerful they felt. We also asked them to describe what each color meant to them. At the university, department includes food science and nutrition, microbiology, psychology, social sciences, English, computer application, commerce and management. Each discipline looks at color in a different way because of their training. So, after the research, this was the finding amongst red showed the biggest difference across departments. Food students felt red. This increases appetite and energy. Business students linked red to power and authority. Microbiology students saw red as a lab indicator, not an emotion. Same color, different meaning. Discuss about people from the food and nutrition, how they perceive color. For food and nutrition, student as well as faculty, color is very practical. Red means ripe and tasty food, yellow means freshness and nutrition, blue felt unappetizing, so it got low rating. Survey in microbiology department. It was found that they see color scientifically. Red reminds them of bacterial staining, blue and yellow related to lab media and experiments. They respond less emotionally because color is a technical tool for them. Survey in psychology department. Faculty as well as students connect color strongly with emotions. Red means passion and excitement. For them, blue feels calm and safe. Black is linked with sadness or fear. They use emotional language more than other groups. People from commerce and management, they see color as authority. Red represents power or revolution for them. White stands for peace or purity, but meaning changes across cultures. They focus on social and historical meaning of color. People from computer application sees color as a design tool. Red is for warning or errors, green means success or approval, blue builds trust in digital interfaces, and color helps guide user actions. This shows after survey how pattern of research was immersed. Each department has its own way of seeing color. Psychology focuses on emotion, sciences focuses on function, humanities focuses on meaning. This shows that how education changes perception. This statistical significance shows the result which was found out and interpreted was real. Academic training in different disciplines changes the perception of individual. Color meanings are shaped by biology, culture and academic training. This pyramid structure shows theoretical implication on individual framework for color emotion association. First, biology gives basic color feelings. Second, culture teaches us meaning. And third, academic discipline trains us how to interpret color. All three work together. So, what does this research mean in practice? How can institutions, educators and professionals use these findings? In institutional design, use departmental specific color schemes to support focus in sciences and creativity in humanities. Pedagogical innovation, align teaching materials with discipline-based color association to enhance learning. In mental health and services, customize color use in counseling based on students' academic background. For professional communication, choose color strategically for each discipline to ensure effective messaging. Over In conclusion, we can say colors do not have one fixed meaning. Our academic training shapes how we emotionally see colors. Understanding this helps improve communication, teaching and design. Here are my references.
The study by Dr. Megha Gohil on emotional association with colors, it offers an insightful examination of how color perception changes across academic disciplines, clearly demonstrating that color meanings are not fixed but shaped by disciplinary orientation, cultural context, and scientific understanding as well. By comparing responses from diverse disciplines such as microbiology, food and nutrition, commerce, computer applications, humanities, psychology, and others, the research successfully reveals distinct patterns of perception and their interpretation. highlighting how color acquires different emotional, symbolic, and functional meanings across diverse fields. The findings are clearly presented and contribute meaningfully to understanding color as a contextual and interpretative phenomenon. The study is further strengthened by its well curated practical applications, effectively translating theoretical insights into actionable design and communication strategies. As a result, the study could be extended in the future by including a wider range of disciplines or cross cultural samples, or by exploring how these perceptual differences influence real time design decisions, digital interfaces, or learning environments. Also, research on selection criteria of colors for different spaces, buildings, based on their purpose, location, that can be a way forward. And such an extension, in my opinion, would further enhance the scope and applicability of this already strong research. Thank you. And I congratulate all the authors for this successful presentation and their very interesting insights into various fields of research. Thank you.
Greetings to all. Today I Tulika Rohatgi from Amity University am presenting my paper to conference Gurukul to Global Paving Path to Viksit Bharat at 2047. My research paper title is Building Materials and Intermediary Spaces Impact of Transnational and Multicultural Influences on Sustainable Built Environment. This paper is about building materials forming an integral part of the field of the building spaces. That we all know, the nature of the surroundings determine the building type, choice of the building material, the type of the form of structure are determined by the type of the material used. The concept of the building material glorifies endurance and visual aspect of design. Not only does it provide meaning but also enhances the aesthetic quality of the building. This paper takes a look at the reasons that make the building an important aspect of the built space. The knowledge of material has led mankind to discover all types of material which work positively or negatively for our environment. The built spaces prevalent today, primarily known as contemporary architecture, having modularity as its strength, in the global economy there is no place differing from the other in terms of the construction and even methods of the building. The architecture of 21st century where no single style is dominant, namely postmodernism, high tech, high conceptual and expressive styles, a unique composition and a very advanced technology with modern material is used in construction. At our place, the Delhi NCR is having a high environmental problem, which is creating maximum urbanization. The residential demand has increased. All of this led to consume more energy, resources, and raw material. Due to this effect, there is a high rise in carbon content in the air, harmful for the environment as well as leading to unhealthy life. It is crucial to address the effect of global warming. Many materials being used are creating unhealthy environment. It is the need of the hour to understand the material and its usage and its high demand of consumerist behavior in the users. Eco-friendly, locally available material will be better for the future. Transnational and multiculturalism as has an impact on intermediary spaces. It gives a summary of the study of the intermediary spaces and their sustainability with it. There is an emergent use for the developer to find a sustainable method for designing the built spaces and to reduce the global warming. This paper explains the importance of building material, its growth, and it tries to address the consumerist behavior in the users and how we can control to better achieve a better tomorrow, which is the need of the hour. Thank you.
The next paper by architect Tulika Rohatgi on building materials and intermediary spaces, impact of transnational and multicultural influences on sustainable built environment, presents a clear and relevant discussion on intermediary spaces and material choices within the context of national and multicultural influences on sustainable built environments. It rightly highlights that no single style dominates contemporary architecture and that increasing dependence on energy intensive materials in the present scenario amidst global warming has contributed to environmentally and psychologically unhealthy built environments. The study emphasizes the need to return to locally available and climate responsive materials, and it convincingly argues that sustainable intermediary spaces emerge when material selection responds simultaneously to climate, cultural diversity, and patterns of use. As a suggestion, the study could be further strengthened by including specific examples or case references along with a summary framework to consolidate the findings. Overall, the paper is well conceived, timely, and informative, with strong relevance to sustainable architectural practices. Thank you.